entering a new level of involvement and engagement and potential confrontation directly with Russia, and could escalate into a World War III.
I'm being called on in my life to love people and to protect people and to be a river to my people. I want to apologize to the Academy. I want to apologize to all my fellow nominees. Love will make you do crazy things.
All of it casting a shadow over Hollywood's biggest night, including a historic win for Best Picture.
Okay, Coda.
You see a queer, openly queer woman of color, an Afro-Latina, who found her strength in life through art.
The noise of that slap is still reverberating around the country, it seems. If you told me that one day Will from The Fresh Prince would assault Pookie in the middle of an award show, I don't know what I would have said. I really don't know what I would have said about that.
58 past the hour. With less than 8 months until the 2022 midterms, a brand new NBC News poll found President Biden's approval rating has dropped to 40%, the lowest level of his presidency, with Democrats looking to avoid losing control of both chambers of Congress.
If it's Monday, President Biden returns from Europe to face the lowest approval numbers of his presidency at home, in a nation that has little confidence he can deal with the war abroad. And the latest signs that the political environment is getting even worse for Democrats, as the White House unveils a budget blueprint to potentially refocus the party's midterm messaging. President Biden is back from Europe, but as he tries to steer the U.S. and its allies away from an escalating conflict on the continent, his standing at home is in dire straits. Our new NBC News national poll has President Biden's job approval at just 40%. That's the lowest it's been at any point since he took office. More broadly, voters are not happy with the current state of this country. About 7 in 10 Americans say it's heading on the wrong track. And underneath those numbers is an alarming trend for the White House. The public's economic frustrations are growing, and its confidence in Biden's ability to address them is shrinking. Biden's handling of the war hasn't seemed to help his standing either. A month into the conflict, and 71% of Americans say they have just some or very little confidence in President Biden leading the U.S. through the crisis in Ukraine, compared to 28% who say they have a great deal or quite a bit of confidence in Biden's wartime leadership. But, Mike, you mentioned the numbers. 40% approval rating, 71% wrong direction. This is after this reset that was supposed to happen at the end of last month. The president's domestic numbers are not great. How does the White House see the president standing right now?
Yeah, a couple interesting developments there. I mean, obviously, you're talking about the situation in Ukraine. Another question we asked here is just the basic approve, disapprove of Biden's handling of the situation with Russia, Ukraine. There it is, 41% approve on that. That's pretty much matching his overall job approval rating, which, as you said, sits now at 40%. So what's keeping his numbers so low here overall? Interestingly, COVID, as you say, it's not dragging him down like it was in the last few polls. Right now, Biden back above 50% approval for his handling of COVID. Compare that to our most recent poll back in January. He was at 44% then. You know, cases are down. We've seen masks, restrictions starting to ease here. So those numbers may be ticking back up for Biden, but not bringing up his overall approval rating. And I think a lot of that has to do with this, the economy. And what you see here is we've been asking this question on Joe Biden's handling of the economy, his entire presidency. If you go back to the beginning, he actually had a above water 52% approval rating, and you could see how it has just ticked down poll after poll throughout his presidency. In January, he fell below 40 for the first time. And now in our most recent poll, look at this, down to a 33% approval rating for Biden on the economy. It's nearly 2-to-1 disapprove on the economy. So these numbers have just been getting worse and worse for Biden. And when you ask folks what is on their mind, what they think the top issue is facing the country right now, look, there is a lot of attention on the Russia-Ukraine war. There are a lot of folks who are following that closely, but it's not number one and it's not number two. Number one and number two you see right here. It's the cost of living, it's jobs and the economy. Those are the two issues at the forefront of most voters' minds here, at least a plurality here. So you look at Biden's numbers on the economy, you look at what's on voters' mind, and I think you start to see the recipe there for that poll standing. And then here's one more, I think just an interesting way of asking this. We asked in this poll, hey, let's stipulate Both of these things are important, the economy, that war with Russia and Ukraine. But which one do you voters think should be Joe Biden's top priority as president? Helping to reduce inflation and improve the economy, 68%. Helping to end the Russia-Ukraine war, more than 2-1, saying focus on those domestic economic issues first.
And the White House would say they got to walk and chew gum at the same time, but that's a pretty tough stick of gum to work on to do both of those things at once. Welcome back. As we told you at the top of the hour, President Biden's approval ratings hit a new low this week, according to our new NBC News poll. Let's take a look at one of those issues driving that number down. It's the economy. Americans are seeing their dollars get them less at the grocery store and less at the gas pump, and they blame the president. Let's look at these numbers. 38% of Americans blame President Biden and his policies for the recent rise in inflation. 28% blame the COVID-19 pandemic, and 23% blame corporate price increases. And even though the war in Ukraine is the most recent issue impacting our economy, only 6% blame that for increased prices.
How about you? Is there something or someone that you blame when you see rising prices?
Well, I blame Putin. I mean, I start there. That's who I blame. I mean, he started this whole darn mess.
So you get a sense that as we get closer to the midterm elections, as voters focus on issues that are key to them, that's what Democrats want to focus on improving their standing on. And there's a lot of room for improvement that Democrats have, especially in areas where they feel that they might have some momentum.
And the panel will be here next as the Biden administration makes a new move aimed at showing voters they feel their pain amid an increasingly difficult midterm environment. Welcome back. Before he became president, Joe Biden often said, "Don't tell me what you value, show me your budget, and I'll tell you what you value." Well, we got to look at what this White House says they value as they prepare to release the 2023 budget in the next hour. Biden's budget proposal highlights two top issues for the White House, COVID and voting rights. And it goes big on crime, proposing over $30 billion to fund law enforcement and another $2 billion to crack down on gun violence. It's an effort to show voters Washington is listening to what they want before the midterms. But our latest poll numbers indicate it's going to be a steep climb for Democrats. Leanne, the president's campaign was based on beating Donald Trump and beating COVID. When you look at these poll numbers, checked and checked. Donald Trump's not the president anymore. The American people, only 3% put COVID as their top issue.
Yeah. Well, we've already had several resets by this administration that haven't seemed to work as far as the poll numbers are concerned. And I'm told, Republicans tell me that the biggest problem for the president was Afghanistan. Mm-hmm. Ever since then, it has just been so difficult for this president to recover, regardless of what he does. Most people, even Republicans will say that he has done a decent job in Afghanistan, and that is not necessarily reflected, or excuse me, in Ukraine, with the Ukraine situation, and that is not necessarily reflected in the poll numbers. And so he can reset again and again, but it is going to have to change the perception that American voters have of him. And right now, it's not good. And it's the economy as well.
Yeah, I mean, they show, first of all, the headline, a decline for the president. Our new numbers here, the NBC poll, give him an approval rating of just 40%. Compare that to the last time we took a poll a couple months ago in January. He's down 3 points from 43 down to 40. So what's driving these numbers? One interesting thing is it may not be COVID, at least not to the degree it was before. This is the president's job approval rating when it comes to his handling of COVID. And you see he's now over 50%, back above water on this. That's actually a change in the right direction for Biden since our last poll. Now, cases have come down. You've seen mask regulations going away. Life may be feeling a little more normal to some people here. Biden's handling of COVID, he's actually improved there. And yet, as we say, the overall approval rating is down. So what is driving it? Here's one thing. You mentioned it, the handling of Russia and Ukraine. There's broad consensus in the poll when you talk about who Americans perceive as the good guys and the bad guys when it comes to this conflict. But the president's handling of it, only a 41% approval rating right there. And then there is this, and I think this is the big one. We've been asking since the start of Biden's presidency, how do you think he's handling the economy? And just look at this trend line. The first time we tested it back in April of 2021, he had a 52% approval rating on the economy. And every single poll since then, that number has come down, and now it's hit a new low. He is down to just a 33% approval rating on the economy. This is basically 2-to-1 disapprove on the economy, and this comes as voters are saying that what is on their mind most? Well, they are thinking about the Russia-Ukraine war, but that's not 1 or 2. 1 and 2 is cost of living, jobs in the economy. So you add that together with the voters' assessment of Biden on the economy. And I thought this is another interesting question we asked here. We basically said, hey, look, both of these things are important. Let's stipulate that. But what do you think the president's top priority should be? Should it be helping to reduce inflation, improve the economy, or helping to end the Russia-Ukraine war? Again, more than a 2-to-1 margin. Folks saying it should be helping to improve the economy, helping to improve the inflation situation. And one of the things this adds up to, it's not just bad news politically for the president, Hallie, it is bad news politically for the president's party. What you see here is the generic congressional ballot. We ask folks, which party would you like to see control Congress after the midterms this year? Republicans now have the lead in our poll on that, 46-44. Just look what a difference that was. The last midterm around this time, March 2018, Donald Trump was president. Donald Trump had low approval ratings. It was the Democrats who were way up in the generic congressional ballot, the Democrats who had a big year. Now the Republicans are up 2 points in this. And you can see how in the past, there's as often, you can see at this time of year, March 2006 is another time, Democrats had a big lead. They had a big November election as well. Those big Democratic leads that have preceded those big Democratic years, you're not seeing them right now in the generic congressional ballot. You are seeing a Republican lead there as well. So that's also got to be concerning for the White House and for Democrats on Capitol Hill. I think, well, cost of living, when you looked, and again, I think you could talk, inflation, just the cost of goods, however exactly you want to define it. When we asked about this last time, the number was at 13. So it's gone from 13 to 21 since the last time we polled. So I think obviously the cost at the pump has gotten a lot of attention. It's not just the cost of fuel, though, that's going up these days. And I think just in the last 2 months of our polling, you've seen it's not quite a doubling, but it's more than a 50% increase in the number of people citing the cost of living. And it is now the top issue.
Just moments ago, the Biden White House released its 2023 budget proposal. And the budget includes funding for some key domestic issues like COVID relief, affordable housing, clean energy, also $773 billion for the Department of Defense, and nearly $7 billion to support our European allies. The budget also includes a new plan to get billionaires to pay more. It's called the Billionaire Minimum Income Tax Plan, and it would create a 20% minimum tax rate on Americans that are worth more than $100 million.